Planetscale recently pulled the rug on their free tier. It makes sense why they did it. They were burning through a bunch of cash that usually startups don't have. However, no one's going to be paying $39 per month just for their side project, which is currently making no money. That's why today we've got 5 alternative databases to use for your next side project. The best bit about it is that they've all got a free plan. To begin with, we've got Supabase, which is everyone's favorite backend as a service. However, it also comes with a built-in Postgres database. What makes Supabase unique is that it gives you access to real-time updates by default, which means that your clients don't need to constantly be polling the database. Instead, they get live updates directly pushed to the client. Another thing about Supabase is that it's completely open source, which means that you can pick it up, chuck it into a Docker file, and then host it wherever you like. Next up, we have Neon, another Postgres database that's completely open source. In fact, Vercel themselves are using it to host Vercel Postgres. Neon lets you access the database wherever you'd like, including edge platforms such as Cloudflare and Dino, as well as normal node runtimes, for example Vercel, Render, and Railway. Neon also has incredibly generous pricing, but unlike Supabase, it doesn't have access to authentication, file storage, or real-time access. For something like real-time access, you'd need to use another provider, for example LiveBlocks, but that's a video for another day. In number 3, we've got Turso, which is a distributed SQL database. In fact, AstroDB recently came out and they're built on top of Turso. In fact, because Turso is built on top of SQLite and libSQL, which is an open source project, they can do a couple of funky things, including creating a database for individual users. I'd like to imagine Turso as the Cloudflare of databases. Turso allows you to create embedded replicas, which is basically a replica of all of your data in certain regions. This allows your data to be queried much faster than it would if it was in a single location, especially if your application is global. Because Turso is such a new database, their primary way of interacting with the database is through the CLI. Both Turso and Neon support branching, which allows you to set up schemas for individual branches. This allows you to iterate quickly and move faster. At the time of this video being made, I don't believe Supabase has access to branching yet, but I do hear that it's in preview. For number 4, we have Cloudflare D1. Now, D1 is also a SQLite database. D1 also has an incredibly generous free tier, including 5 million row reads a day and 100,000 row writes a day. If you ever manage to get onto the paid tier, it's 0.1 cents per million rows read and $1 per million rows written. And just the way that Cloudflare works, they never charge for bandwidth. Cloudflare as a whole is a very weird offering. Not very many people know, but you can actually deploy a Next.js application onto Cloudflare Compute, otherwise known as workers. But that's a video for another day. And in number 5, we've got CockroachDB. CockroachDB is a bit more battle tested. It's been around for a lot longer than all the other alternatives mentioned in this video. However, its pricing is so complicated, I wouldn't be able to figure out exactly how much I'd end up paying to Cockroach. However, a lot of large companies use CockroachDB. It also happens to be distributed and designed for high availability, which means that when your startup inevitably gets DDoSed, your database won't fail. These are my top 5 picks for databases for your next side project. Let me know what you guys think in the comments.